Welcome back to South Park Recap, where we recap your favorite South Park episodes. Today's episode, Season 11, Episode 8, Petite Tourettes. In this episode, Cartman does some absolutely messed up stuff. Cartman pretends to have Tourette syndrome and embraces the freedom that comes with pretending to have Tourette syndrome, revealing the ability to say whatever he wants without facing the consequences. He seizes the opportunity to appear on national television to fully exploit his newfound no-filter lifestyle. If you want to learn more about Tourette's, there will be a link in the description to the American Tourettes Association. With all that being said, let's start this recap. We start the episode in a store. Cartman is looking at some kind of wrestling toy. While looking at the toy, he hears cuss words and other obscenities from this kid, Thomas. We learn that Thomas has a neurological disorder named Tourette's. Tourette's makes the body do unwanted motions or say unwanted sounds. This is why Thomas is screaming obscenities. Can't control it. In his twisted mind, he can't believe there's a disorder that lets you get away with doing or saying anything. Obviously, Cartman doesn't understand how hard this impacts a person. This impact with Thomas, while Cartman and Thomas are standing in line. Cartman thinks that the things Thomas is saying are directed at him. Once Thomas's mom explains the disorder, Thomas says he just wants to go home, embarrassed by his disorder. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of people with Tourette's have to go through, but we'll get to all that later. After learning this, Cartman runs out of the store screaming in joy. We then cut to Cartman at the doctor's office with his mom, Leanne, telling the doctor that he's been having symptoms of Tourette's. After doing some more testing, the doctor diagnoses him with Tourette syndrome. The next day, at school, Cartman is walking down the hall screaming obscenities at his fellow students and principal. Then, Kyle, seeing right through his facade, immediately presses him, saying he doesn't have Tourette's and he's just faking. Cartman then comes clean to Kyle and telling him that he's faking and says it's awesome. Psychopath. Once in class, Cartman continues with his chicanery, annoying Kyle and Mrs. Garris, ready to expose Cartman when this guy shows up from the Children's Charity Center. He gets mad at Kyle, not realizing that Cartman's faking, and takes Kyle to the Children's Charity Center to teach him some tolerance and respect for the people with Tourette's. At the Children's Charity Center, Kyle is sat in a circle with a bunch of other kids with Tourette's, giving insightful information about Tourette's. Obviously, Kyle is like the audience of South Park, learning along with Kyle. This is why the show was praised for how informational and well-researched it was, informing people all over the world about Tourette's who probably didn't know a thing about it. Outside of the center, Kyle's parents make him apologize to Cartman. We then cut to Chris Hansen on Dateline NBC, where Hansen is reading a letter sent from Cartman, asking him to do a special report on him and living with Tourette's. Then, back at Eric's house, Kyle shows up to question and berate him about going on Dateline NBC. Cartman says to Kyle he is going to national television and say horrible things about Jewish people. Kyle then pleads with Cartman not to do this, but unfortunately, he can't deter him. Cartman goes on this mad, evil villain speech, talking about how he's gonna trash Jewish people on TV. Until something weird happens. While in the middle of his little monologue, he says, "I wet my bed." Now this confuses Kyle and Cartman, and Kyle storms off. But Eric is even more confused, why did he just say that he wet his bed? I don't know, it's probably nothing. We then cut to Cartman the day of Dateline, giving a speech to the town. Everyone is praising him and telling him how brave he is. His plan is working, until he screams the phrase, "I'm making this all up! I cry at night because I don't have a dad!" Oh my god. Something is seriously wrong with Cartman. He is now involuntarily saying things. Quite ironic, huh? Somehow having no filter and saying whatever he wants rewires his brain, and he is now saying things involuntarily. At Channel 4 News, Chris Hansen practicing and getting ready for the show when Cartman comes in and says he won't do the show. Although Hansen persuades him by telling him that one time he was doing the show called To Catch a Predator, but one time one of the predators ran from them because he didn't want to be on the Dateline. So they followed him to his house and the predator shot himself. Hansen then says, "It would be a shame if you didn't want to do the show, and we had to track you down, and you shot yourself." Cartman, at an obvious crossroads, not wanting to be figured out and also not wanting to be killed, tries to think of a way out of it. With just 5 minutes left until the show, he prays to God for help. Outside, Kyle and Thomas have thought of a way to stop Eric from doing the show. This is their plan. Kyle and Thomas will message a predator, and the predator will meet Thomas outside of the Channel 4 News building. Thomas then tells the predator to go in. The predator then walks into the filming stage where the audience and Chris Hansen are. When the predator sees Chris Hansen, he pulls out a gun and kills himself. Yeah. right in front of everybody, causing a distraction. This is when Kyle breaks into the green room where Cartman is to stop him. But as he's in the green room, a plethora of predators start showing up and walking into the Channel 4 news building and seeing Chris Hansen, causing them all to he has some kind of magical power.
Oh, it's Chris Hansen! What is going on? Wait a minute. Oh God, it's Chris Hansen! Chris Hansen! Dateline! I knew it! There aren't really brownies!
Then, with all this distraction, chaos, and, predators killing themselves, the show is obviously canceled. So Cartman hugs Kyle and tells him that he saved him.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cal.
Cartman then runs out of the building, stepping over the bodies of the deceased predators.
I gotta get to a psychiatrist and learn to control what I say. I gotta go to take it. Thanks to Cal. I gotta go to twinkle in my eye.
And the credits roll. In the end, La Petite Tourette combines silly humor with a lot of Eric Cartman bull, and how Cartman can never have consequences for his actions. Like, seriously, other than, maybe Human Sentai Pad, I can't think of a time where Eric Cartman ever gets consequences, but that's beside the point. The story shows Cartman trying to take advantage of someone with Tourette syndrome, but things go wrong for him, proving that manipulation doesn't always work. The episode balances crazy jokes with real feelings, showing what it's really like to live with Tourette's. It leaves viewers laughing, but also thinking about the difference between funny and respectful. But as the Tourette Syndrome Association pointed out, I think that Eric Cartman and all the other characters, well, Eric Cartman in quotations, and all the other characters that have Tourette's in the show, and they're just always cussing and stuff, I think that really perpetuates a bad stereotype, because not all people with TS have that type of Tourette syndrome. But fortunately, I do think that Matt and Trey did a really good job on this episode, and they definitely did the research. And yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. If y'all did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, whatever down below, and I will see y'all in the next one. I know this may have been a little shorter than some of my videos, but alright, I'll see y'all later. Peace.